everybody. Welcome back to Sunshine and Soul. I've been away for a bit, but yeah, now I'm back online, as you can see, and I'm here with the prestigious, the lovely, the very special. And I'm trying to know her. I've known Ronke for a long time. Miss Ronke Lawal. How are you, my
Hi,
darling? How are
I'm
you?
good, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me onto to this podcast. I was really pleased to see that you had started this platform because you've always been such a dynamic and vibrant voice. So you finally having a space to share this voice with the
Oh,
world is really exciting.
thank you, my darling. Thank you. First question we always ask on Sunshine and Soul is, how are you? I know you've got a baba now.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm as well as one can be in the midst of
Mm.
perpetual global crisis and trauma.
Hmm.
You've got to make sure that you keep yourself well. So I'm well overall
Good.
in relation to all of that. I have my ups and my downs, but I'm human, and I'm learning to also lean into the downs as much as the ups. I think sometimes we run away from the downs when actually we need to unpack why we're down. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Good. Life is good. Business is good. Family, we're all good.
Lovely. And tell us about Ronke because I know all about you, but I don't know if my audience do. So tell us who you are.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I'm Ronke Lawal. I'm a PR and communications specialist, consultant, founder of Ariati PR. I've been in the game for a long time. I call it a game now because, well,
Long time.
you were in that. You
It's
were
a
in that.
game, yes.
It's a game.
Yes.
For many years, I've worked with in a lifestyle creative culture space, and I like to kind of keep my work a little bit dynamic because kind of getting caught up in one avenue of it felt quite restrictive. So yeah, PR and communications. And I'm based in London, but I've had global clients as well. But I'm also beyond that, beyond the work that I do, the person that I am is I'm a love of my people. So I love us. I love Black
Mm-hmm.
people, and I
All day,
love
every day.
yeah, and I love all of us in our full range and spectrum of diversity, right? So I know we're not all the same, and I don't expect us to always agree. But that's what I love about us. I love our cultures. I love our communities. I love being from here, even though this country doesn't always
Hey.
love me or love people who
Mm-mm.
look like me. I love that we've
Yeah.
managed to carve out a community, and I love pop culture. I love my food. Yeah, I'm here, and I love conversation. So I'm really excited to speak to you today.
I I love that you led with the word love because that's what I lead with. I lead with love everywhere I go. So this is going to be a great
Good,
conversation, even though I
good.
know we're not going to agree.
Oh, here we go.
Even though I'm not going to agree. What I wanted to start with actually is that Ronke's also a YouTuber, and she recently put out a video called "The Glass Cliff." Um, can we can we explain what that means? Because that is going to form a lot of your argument, isn't it?
Sure, yeah.
Some of your argument,
Some of
yeah.
it,
So
some of it, some of
yeah.
it. And I'm going to start off because I saw something the other day, and somebody said, oh, why do we complain, or like, why are we complaining about success when it's finally within our reach, right? Oh, the ultimate success. The ultimate success in this instance, we're
Mm,
talking about corporate success, political success, financial success. So the glass cliff is a phenomenon whereby Black women, it started off with women, and then if you unpack it more, so all women, but really what they meant was
hmm.
white women. When you unpack it
Cool.
more,
When they say
it's
women, I mean they never include us. They never
when
include
you
us.
unpack I don't. When you unpack it, and then there was studies, academic studies, who unpacked it further than just the
Hmm.
white women, and saw that Black women and women of color, or non-white women, whatever expression you like to use, but Black women were often elevated, promoted in positions of success when there was a crisis about to unfold. So in a chaotic climate, when a company was, on the cusp of losing its value, and so they bring in an exceptional Black woman or an exceptional woman of color to salvage the mess. But what often happened was, and so
Mm.
what often happened was it didn't necessarily improve the situation. Actually, it led to more not damage, but more stress for the leader, the black woman leader,
Yeah.
and a distrust and mistrust, and then end up having to replace the person at the end of the day. So it's a phenomenon really where you just get a black woman, exceptional black woman, to fix a problem that another party made, right? A mess that another party made, but we're supposed to celebrate it because it's the top, right? You're the top of the mountain, the cliff, but actually it's
I
about
can
to
think
shatter
of
from.
two women, Karen White, who was at John Lewis, and
Yeah,
Bazoma,
Sharon White.
Bazoma,
Sharon White. Yeah,
Sharon
yeah,
White,
yeah,
and Bazoma
yeah.
St. John, who's been at loads of companies for very short amounts of
God.
time.
Yeah,
There's
you
two
see,
particular, yeah,
you see,
that's
yeah,
exactly what,
yeah, and there's
yeah,
many more.
yeah,
There's many more examples, and we're potentially about to see that in the political climate in the United
mm,
States of America. Potentially,
potentially.
I think
Yes,
so, but let's talk about that.
let's get on to the topic at hand, which is Kamala Harris, who has been thrown into the walls, some might say, because President Biden has dropped out of the race against Donald Trump, which is in the election was in November. And he's endorsed his VP, Kamala Harris, who is a mixed race, half Jamaican, half Indian, African American woman. And when I heard the news, right? When I heard the news, my initial reaction was let's go. Yes, let's
Yeah,
go. That was my initial reaction, right? And I was like, yes, let's do this, let's go, let's get behind her and let's push this forward.
yeah,
Because I don't see her as a black woman. I'm a mixed race. Yeah,
okay,
she's mixed. But then I thought she's a woman. She's a
okay.
woman, she's different. And I feel like she's seen as a black woman, so let's get behind her. And I jumped on Twitter, and then somebody said, "Listen, she's the same person that was bombing Gaza." I was like, "Oh yeah, she was." I was like, "Oh yeah, she was." Oh yeah,
And
she
that's the
was,
raw truth. And we're
and that's the
smiling through it
truth.
because you can only like smile through the pain because
This
it's
is
not even
it.
it's not funny, but it is the truth, right? It's
It's the
truth.
truth. It's the truth. But then I thought, well, can't she? She's kind of as VP. She's kind of a figurehead. She can't doesn't really do anything. She can't make up those decisions, can she? I don't. I'm not sure. Then I thought, well, maybe she might move past that. And then I saw the glass cliff thing that you said, and I was like, yeah, she's right. She's right. But no, let's get behind her.
Marianne, this is fun. This is like okay, but this is why conversations like this are important. And I hope your no, but I hope your listeners and your viewers. This is why conversations are critical because your listeners and viewers, we can never stop learning and unlearning, right? So we're
Right.
supposed to be challenged. I'm sure there's going to be points you raise where I'm going to be like, okay, fair enough, and vice versa. But we can't just accept. My thing, even before we kick off properly and get deeper, is we can't just accept representation for the sake of representation because we know that
100%.
representation is often being weaponized to undermine many of us in our communities. We see it here with black conservatives, right? And some of the leaders in the former government, like some of the black conservatives, what they were doing, the damaging rhetoric they were
Exactly.
doing. We can't just get excited because they were the first in a certain office.
Hmm.
But their policies were violent and their policies were harmful and causing our people pain. And not
Exactly.
just causing our people pain, but collectively continuing to maintain the status quo of the oppressive regimes that keep this world broken. I'm getting really like political now, but I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. But you're 100% correct about that. And then people also pointed to her track record as a DA and as an Attorney General of California, and how some of her policies over there were detrimental to Black people. And I'm like, boy, but it's
yeah.
against. And I'm thinking, it's Trump though.
And this is it. Look, before we even like, honestly, I do not want that man to win. So at the end
Oh
of the
God.
day, the victory, her victory, the Democrats' victory is essential to keep him out of office.
Mm-hmm.
However, we are still, and multiple, as we know, multiple things can be true at once, right? Does that mean effectively that her being president is necessarily going to be a game changer in the grand scheme of social reform and progress and social justice? No, not necessarily at all. However, it is important to keep that man out of office. We cannot,
Yeah.
like, the fact that he's even up for the running,
It's
it says so,
ridiculous to
but
me.
Marianne, it's not, because it says so much about the power of white supremacy. Like, he is
100%.
everything. He is everything that we have been taught that we should despise. But yet he's still able to float around and still say he wants to run the most powerful, because we know that it's still, as much as the imperialist state is crumbling slowly, it's still there. The USA is still the most powerful
Still.
nation
Yeah.
in the world. And this man, who's unqualified, not even just underqualified, he's
mediocre. He's not even qualified to run in any political arena at all. An alderman, a councillor, a senator. No way. He shouldn't even work in a political office. He shouldn't even volunteer. But he has been president for 4 years.
And this is the thing. And he, even in his business life, and the thing that gets me is, we can even say, okay, we can because we know America is a land of hope and glory and a land of dreams. Look, they had Ronald Reagan, who we know. Ronald Reagan used to be an actor, right? And he became president. We've seen so many instances where white men in those political offices, they're forgiven for. But okay, Trump, even when he was an entertainer, because he was an entertainer on The Apprentice. I used to think he was entertaining when he was doing The Apprentice and his businesses. Then you find out the majority of his businesses, he wasn't even very good at being a businessman.
How many times has he been bankrupt? How many times? How many times has he been bankrupt? It's crazy.
So the fact we're even having this conversation, I almost feel tired even having this conversation, and it's like, okay, so we know. So the only reason that, we have to get behind the Democrats is to make sure he doesn't. And you know what? What's our interest in this? Because people are like, you two women, you're in the UK. You're in that small.
But whatever happens in America affects us. 100%.
Always.
Whatever happens in America. I mean, I remember when Barack Obama was elected.
Yeah.
First thing they did was look at black men politicians in the UK to push them forward. And who did we end up with? I think the closest we got was, what was his name? I can see his face now. What was his name?
Oh, Chuka. Yeah, he's gone. He's in the private sector now.
He's a corporate banker now, isn't he? Yeah, exactly.
He was like, nope, this life is not for me. Nope. And he potentially could have been that the prime minister. Like they were really, but there was too much.
When Barack got elected, they looked for the next mixed race brother in the UK, and they pushed him.
Chuka was like, the pressure. No.
He trotted out. Remember, he trotted out his white wife. He came out with her hand in hand.
Oh, the pressure was getting worse for that guy.
Worse.
You know what? Look at us laughing. Because when they were really interrogating his life, and he got married real quick, because I'm pretty sure he got married, like, when the whole conversation started, he got married real quick. And then it was like, my guy, he was like, you know what? I'm not about this life.
I'm out of this.
Let me get my 6-7 salary.
Yeah. He tried for about 6 weeks, and he's like, I'm not Barack Obama. I'm out of this.
Look at us laughing. This is a serious political topic. Because we know this country.
It was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
This country will literally, like, when it comes to black leadership in this country specifically, it is like black, mixed race black. It's just it's a different ball game. We don't have that same, and the media, the tabloid media. Yeah. Oh no, gosh, no. He had to go. I don't even blame him. I was just like, see ya.
I mean, and the advent of Trump being pushed forward gave Boris credibility for some reason. Everybody said, because we had Trump and Boris at the same time, didn't we? That gave Boris credibility, because if Trump can run America, we can have buffoon Boris with his 27 children running the UK. Whatever happens in America, it reflects over here, and I don't think people realize actually how much
And this is
that is
it. And
true.
they don't. And this is why it's so important to keep amplifying our voices here.
Yeah,
She is Black Brits, or however you want to define yourself. Because I know
yeah.
not all people who are considered Black Brits want to be called Black British, but
Me.
I'm fine
Not
with being called
me.
Black Brits. Yeah, that's why I said it. I was like, okay, let me be
Not
careful.
me.
I'm okay being called Black Brits, but I don't know all of us in this room.
Mm.
But no, but you're like, this is the thing. A lot of that affects us here, and then we're all here. Those of us who have the comprehension, the intellect to kind of unpack stuff. We're just here, like observing the atmosphere and just being like, oh God, another thing, and yet another thing. And we're never surprised when
Exactly.
certain things happen that reflect what's going on across the water over there in the States.
Exactly. So with Kamala coming in, the spotlight is going to be on, because she's mixed, but they're going to see her as a black woman. It's going to be on black um, politicians in this country, and we now have a Labour government. So it's going to be the Dawn Butlers and the, oh God, what's their names? The Bell with the earrings and
Marianne.
the one's name's Florence, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, Florence. We've got the Dawn Butler.
Yeah,
We've got the Florences.
Dawn
We've
Butler.
got
Yeah,
obviously got Diane,
Diane.
Aber.
I'm not including Diane because she's the mother. She's not gonna ascend to the leader of the Labour Party and lead nothing.
Well,
You know
no,
what I mean?
yeah, not in these
No.
times. Yeah,
So I'm not.
no, not.
Yeah, I'm not including Diane in that. She's had her time. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna. If there is a black woman running America, that is definitely gonna reflect on black female leadership in the UK. 100%. Do you agree? Do you think that would happen?
I agree.
It's
I
gonna shine
agree.
a
I
spotlight
agree.
on it. Yeah.
I agree. I think there will be a lot more interrogation, and I
Hmm.
think, and my only thing I'm so skeptical is this country
Mm,
loves to talk, and so what they'll do is the media class will wheel out and do lots of profiles and talk, but
yeah.
never really give serious precedence to what it would look like to have a black woman leader or prime
No.
minister in this country. Like seriously, what we'll probably end up with is lots of viral moments.
Yeah.
There'll be lots of viral moments, some nice panel conversations, there'll be some features, and then because nobody's going to interrogate why the Labour Party has such a poor record of black women leadership in its party. Like why, and
Because
just women as a whole, but also just
yeah.
how it treats black women specifically, how it treats its Asian women,
Mm,
women of
mm,
color leaders. Nobody are they going to take the time to interrogate what is it about the Labour Party that means that actually someone like
mm.
Diana, because she could have and she should have been given an
She
opportunity to
should
lead.
have. She should have. She should have. She should have. I mean, the Labour Party don't have any black women in government right now, do they? In
So
the
you
front bench.
see, so it's going to be. That's why I said this country loves to
Mm.
talk. It's going to be a lot of, Guardian and Channel 4 conversation, and then on the other flip side, there'll be the tabloid conversation. But there'll be lots of and then there'll be the Sky. I'm sure there'll be a Sky News panel that will go
Of
viral.
course, yeah.
There'll
Of
be
course.
something, and we're just going to be here sampling up the content and be like, oh yay, woo! But what does that actually do to shift the goalposts beyond it going viral? And do you see what I
In this
mean? Like
country, yeah.
I'm trying not to be shady, but I'm just like, nah, yeah,
Mm.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So let's get to Miss Kamala Harris, because in the last couple of days since she's been announced, she's got enough delegates. She looks like she's going to be the nominee. She's
Oh yeah,
raised, there is a Win with Women organization, and they had a Zoom call with 44,000 people and they raised 1.2 million. Then last night there was the Win with Men conversation. I think there were 55,000 men and they raised 1.7 million for her. I think she has raised something nearly close to 100 million since she's been announced of small donations.
wow,
And they said that the reason why she's the nominee is because all the money that Biden raised for his
yeah,
campaign, it can only go to her as the VP.
yeah,
It can't get passed on to any other Democrat. So
of
that's the
course,
reason why he endorsed her immediately. So
of
she
course.
has, in a couple of, I mean, when she was announced on Sunday, it's Tuesday, and in that small space of time, she's got the endorsement from the Clintons. She's got enough delegates. She's got all
Yeah,
this money. Um, So it looks like it's full steam ahead for her.
Yeah.
What are your reservations apart from the glass cliff analogy? What are your reservations with having Kamala as um, the nominee in place of Biden?
So look, at the moment, my issue has always been that the Democrats, they didn't seem to have a strategy, a clear strategy, right? They didn't
Mm-hmm.
seem to have an Olivia Pope, one of us, in their on their camp. They just seem to have pulled this together and panicked it away. There's a couple of things that have come up in the press, and even just the terminology surrounding her. And whilst it shouldn't be important, I do think it matters. So the memification of Kamala Harris, right? Not
Oh my
being taken
gosh.
seriously.
Mm,
What does that do in terms of how people view her? I'm also concerned, and I'm going to keep going back to this whole idea of representation. Somebody shared something that was really poignant on the X Twitter timeline about the fact that, you know, there's multiple crises that are happening across America. There's, you know, poverty, particularly in Black communities, in Flint, right? Flint,
the
where there's
water
dirty
crisis, yeah.
water, water
Mm-hmm.
crisis. There's been ongoing fundraising appeals, ongoing for many, many years, right? Since Obama was in office. And so
Mm-hmm.
and yet they were able, this whole thing of being able to raise money in less than 24 hours for a
Mm,
presidential candidate who we know is going to get money anyway, but not being able to address financially and economically the Flint water crisis. For me, and
yeah,
there's many
it's
other
crazy.
crises, don't get me wrong, but when I read that, I was like, yeah. So it's not beyond the glass cliff and how it's going to make, you know, her as a candidate perhaps not achieve all the things that she may want to achieve. It's also how
Mm-hmm.
we as communities, global diasporans, global majority communities view representation, and are we willing to? Are we going to do the work to make sure we hold our representatives to account in office? We've already addressed the fact that not enough has been said about Gaza, said or done about Gaza, but even on home soil, what about our own Black communities? So that's my real concern. I just don't want it to be a case of we're celebrating this person, this face, this individual, without looking at her policies and also looking at how we're reacting. Like, getting onto a Zoom call, yeah, it looks great. Again, it's one of those viral moments. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the breaking the record of the amount of people on Zoom, fantastic, great, it makes headlines. You've made all this money, but then turn around, and there's serious issues that we need to address in those communities.
Mm,
So yeah, that's my concern. I think, or multiple concerns,
mm.
I should say.
And what if do you think that she can beat Donald Trump?
Oh, you know, I want to say yes. I want to say
Mm.
yes. Because do I think that she can be? She can with the right strategy. There is no logical reason. Like, my brain right now, as I'm speaking to you, is like, it's like,
Sorry.
it's not plausible for her not to be
But
able, because she is more
exactly.
than qualified. It's not plausible. It just doesn't make any sense. So I don't want us to look back
Exactly.
on this podcast when I say. So I'm not going to say she cannot, because I believe that she should be able to beat that man. However, I do not trust America, and I do not trust Americans to make the right choice. Because sometimes, even in this country, we saw the political climate. How is Nigel Farage, reform, and all of that? How were they able to make gains in this country? Minimal, but they were still gains. So I don't always trust the masses to make the right decision. But she can. She should.
She can and she. I didn't think that even with all these gaffes, I didn't think Biden was going to lose. To be honest, I didn't. I was
Wow.
like, they're not going to vote Donald Trump in again. I didn't think he was going to lose. But then what I say to Black America specifically, since Obama, where's your candidate? Where's your candidate? Since Obama, they haven't picked anyone. They've never pushed anyone forward to say this is our Black American representative for the presidential campaign. There's not been anybody. There was Stacey Abrams, and then she lost her seat. And she lost her
You
seat. She got
see,
all those people registered to vote. I can't remember where she was. Was she in Atlanta? I can't remember where she
I think
was.
he's
Um, I think she's in Atlanta, Georgia. I think she's in Georgia. She got all those. Remember, she got all those people registered to vote because they tried to do some voter thing down there, right? and then she lost her seat. So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you had Barack Obama for 8 years, and yes we canned it to death. But where is the next black person
Yeah.
who you can
And
push
for that,
forward to at least run, to at least try to get the nomination?
you're absolutely right. But I also want to see radical and even revolutionary. I doubt there'll be a revolutionary leader in my lifetime, but I would like to see a radical leader. And I know in the
Mm,
time that we're in, it's unlikely to happen. But if the right wing policymakers and politicians are making gains in their radical delusional worlds, I feel
mm,
like the more, the more socialist, leftist, more community-based grassroots leaders need to rear their heads, and we need to get behind them. And you're absolutely right. I feel like if we're going to talk about representation for what it is in terms of caring about our communities, the black communities across America should have identified someone. And
mm.
Stacey, yeah, Miss Stacey would have been a phenomenal pick. I'm wondering what happened there. Yeah, I shouldn't be surprised, but wow.
And now they're talking about if there was to be an all women ticket, that Kamala should bring on Jasmine Crockett. Do you know who that is?
Her
Jasmine
name
Crockett
sounds familiar.
she recently came into prominence because a white lady, I can't remember, is there something green? Can't remember her name. A right wing white lady was talking to her in the Senate and told her about, so I said something about her eyelashes being too big. And then she hit back with bleach, bleached, blonde, bad built, butch body, right? That does not make her. That one liner, she's obviously in the Senate, so she is qualified. So that one liner doesn't make her
Yeah,
qualified to be on a presidential like, come on. To join
yeah,
Kamala as the VP. You lot have got to be serious. You've got to be
yeah,
serious.
yeah. But the rules are never. This is what I'm saying, and it's so
But it's
exhausting. The
almost like
rules,
pop culture is running politics, not qualifications. That's how they end up with Donald Trump.
and this is it, and this is why I refer to the memification of Kamala Harris
Mm,
and all the memes, the gifs, whatever how you pronounce it, all of those clips and everything.
yeah,
Does it necessary? It doesn't necessarily. I don't know if it's necessarily something to be excited about. It might help. It might help, but I don't know. But the example you just used is really interesting when we look at where we are in society and the impacts of digital
mm,
spaces and how we're viewed. But also the rules are not made for us. So Donald Trump can do and say what he wants. He's a felon at the moment,
literally.
right? So
He
he
can't
can do
even
and say
vote for
what he.
himself. He's a felon. He
Well,
can't
this is
even
it.
vote for himself.
And you know what? There's a couple of things that are really, really powerful with him, and I wonder if his presence in politics is really important because actually, I do believe in prison reform. I do believe that we need to, everybody should deserve a second chance, right? If you commit a crime, unless it's a really heinous, deplorable crime that we can't even
Yeah.
talk about, but if there's certain crimes that I feel like, yeah, if you do the work, you should be given another chance, right? So with that, and also gun reform, right? So what happened with him as well? And yet he is one of the most pro-gun, that whole NRA. And it's like, surely, with what happened to him, he should now be looking at gun reform and he should be looking at prison reform, how we talk about felons, but also, and criminals, but also we should talk about gun reform. But no, none of that's happening. And it's just like, oh,
But
okay.
I've
Yeah, this
watched
guy is just,
CNN, I've watched Fox, I've watched everything since he got that piece of glass hit his ear. And not a single person has mentioned anything about gun reform. Not a single person has mentioned anything about gun reform, considering that there was an assassination attempt on a presidential candidate. Nothing.
that
Nothing.
is wild to me. But I'm not
Wild.
surprised.
Completely wild. Completely wild.
And that's why
Completely wild.
I can't trust Americans to make the right decision at the moment. I'm just like, I can't because that should go without saying. And so, yeah, okay, isn't. Although I want to be excited. I want to be more excited about the prospect of
Mm,
first woman president, woman, you know, black. Jamaican, Indian, like amazing. Like when you think about it, it's like
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Ticks all the
Born in
boxes.
California, where she was born and everything, where she was, you know, I think it is an important history marker for sure. It's going to be an historical
Mm,
moment for sure. But there's still so much to consider and to unpack, and I feel like the things that we need to look at is how she's going to handle economic inequalities, how she's going to handle international crisis, what she's going to do about Gaza. I'm hoping it's
mm,
like something happens before she even gets into office, because this is getting ridiculous
yeah.
now. A genocide is taking place as we speak, and so there's a lot of things that she needs to look at in office, and it's not even an expectation that she needs to be exceptional. Like she doesn't need to be the best. Like I'm not asking
Mm.
her to work twice as hard. I'm just asking her to do the work, and yeah, that's it.
What do you think about the backlash she's gonna get just the fact that she's not a white woman?
And this is a thing, and this is why we have to protect ourselves as Black women, because it's going to be a lot.
Mm.
We're gonna, and this is why I found it offensive when Michelle Obama's name came up, because they treated
Ugh,
that woman. However, whatever you think about their politics, whatever you think about her husband, whatever you think about her positionality, just the rhetoric and the way she was spoken about was so
mm,
violent. It was like they were using her as an opportunity to unleash how they view Black women, full stop, across
100%.
the board.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be relentless. We have to protect ourselves. I feel like we have to make sure that we support each other and gather, and also just monitor what we consume, because just like take our time with certain things. It's just going to be, we know inevitably what's going to happen, what's going to come should she become president. I'm also a believer that we don't have to be strong. Like we don't have to say, "Oh yeah, it's fine." We ought to be able to, say, actually, we tap out, and accept that it might not be for us to speak about. So it's going to be a long road, long journey. The
Mm.
4 years when she's president.
Do you think he set her up for failure by dropping out so late?
I do. And nobody convinced me otherwise. I also believe there is an element of whiteness in its construct, in that he and his team assume that he, even despite he's clear, evidently he's got, there's something not quite, he's not whole,
Yeah,
he's not completely whole, right? Despite all of that, he was still better than a very balanced and clear-minded
yeah,
Black mixed race
yeah,
woman, right? They waited to the very last moment, because they still
yeah.
were like, let's keep going, because a white man who is evidently going through some stuff is still far superior to a
Wow,
fully functioning, able and exceptional Black
wow.
mixed race woman.
Mm.
So that was telling to me. So it's not even just a failure part. It's what the symbolism to me was like.
When you put
He
it
had a
like
lot of
that,
time. They had a lot of time. But they
when
just were
you
like,
put it
okay,
like
let's
that, a man that doesn't have all these faculties is still better than this woman. But when you put it
basically,
like that,
that's what they're telling
wow,
us. They're telling us at the very, like, at the hurdle, like, they announced he had COVID. Like, it was literally like, okay, this guy, what are we gonna do? Like, literally, like, it's got to be a point where we're
yeah,
gonna be like, okay, but he's still better. He's still better than this mixed race Black
wow,
woman.
yeah.
I
I don't
just,
think he had COVID at all. I don't think he had COVID at all. I think they're just trying to buy themselves some time with that one. They were just trying to buy
wow,
themselves. I don't think he had COVID. He's got whatever he's got.
really?
Yeah, he's got whatever he's got because he called her Vice President Trump. Like he's got
Oh
whatever he's
yeah. Oh gosh, and that
yeah,
Putin statement, when he made the thing
yeah.
about, when he said something about Putin, there was a lot of
Yeah, he called
hiccups.
Zelensky. He called Zelensky Putin. Yeah,
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 it's just
yeah. I think they were just buying. I don't think he had COVID. That's a cop out. I think they were just buying themselves some time, and then they tried to buy themselves some time. Like, oh shit, we're gonna need like 6 months, so we have to drop out. We've got no other choice.
yeah, yeah.
3 weeks ain't gonna do it. Like 3 weeks not gonna do it.
So she was it was
Yeah.
let's not even
So what if she loses? What happens to her after that? Is that
you
going to have
know,
a huge detrimental effect on her whole reputation?
no, I don't think so. I don't.
You
I
don't
think we'll
think
look at
so?
it. I don't think it will have a detrimental effect on her reputation. I think she'll be able to spin it. Americans are great at the spin. They're great salespeople. They're great at
Mm,
personal branding. She'll do. She'll. I know she's already had a few books. She'll get a bigger book deal, bigger speaker circuit.
mm,
She'll make a real big name for herself, and she will be absolutely whatever direction she wants to take. She'll be fine. I think. I think she'll give this her best shot, and if she doesn't win, we can utilize there's a lot of things that she can utilize, right, in terms of why,
mm.
if she doesn't win, why she lost. So
Why
the
she did it?
assassination attempt, yeah, the last minute nature, the chaos, the economic climate, the situation in the Middle East, politics. Like, there's a lot of things that she can pick
Yeah.
through that she can utilize to say, well, this is why I didn't win, or the conditions weren't right. And also, in the grand scheme of politics, age wise, she's got time to do this again with a longer run. Like, she can do this again where it's better, cleaner, and nicer. She can find her own version of "Yes We Can." Her own is like she can
Okay.
find like she can do this again. She can come back if she really wants to come back. So actually, if she doesn't win it, we have to bite our lips for the next 4 years. Let Trump do what he needs to do, whatever that is, and then she'll come back. She'll come back fine. She's young. She's young. So
You're way more optimistic than I thought you'd be, Ronke. Way
I'm a
more.
you know
You're you're way
I'm a
more than I thought you'd be.
no, but I'm practical, and I'm a pragmatist. Like, I'm pragmatic. I know how this world operates. And look,
Yeah.
hun, like, the next 10 years, like, there's so much. We've been through so much
Mm,
so many unprecedented times, that I'm just like, look, we need at least another 5 to 10 years. So let's just clear this mess. So if we need to clear
yeah.
more mess, let Trump do what he needs to do. Let the right wing people, the bubble burst. Let them go.
Oh my
Let it all
gosh.
out. Let it all out. Let Nigel Farage, all of these people, wherever they are, let all of these right wing leaders in Argentina, in this country, that country, let them do what they need to do, let it out, and then let's get back to some level of stability. So this is the only reason why I'm trying. Whilst I'm a pessimist, I'm an optimistic pessimist.
Let me just pivot for a little bit. What did you think about that assassination attempt?
Am I allowed to even say this online? Can I even say? I'm
I
not going to
have.
say what I really want to say.
Please
All I'm going to
do.
say,
Please
all I'm
do.
going to
Please
say,
do.
all I'm going to say is, and I've said this to people who even close ones, loved ones, who were not expecting it. Right? I said, you've got to pay attention to media framing, and this is why I say people always undermine and diminish PR, the media. They think it's nothing. I say
Yeah.
you've got to look at everything and question everything. So what I'm going to say
100%.
is, question it all. Like, be reasonable, be logical, and just look at everything. Don't take everything as a given. The media class is so powerful in how it
Mm,
influences the masses. So you cannot just be another cog in that wheel and be like, and just accept what they're feeding you. You have to ask the right questions. Look at things and ask, how was that able to happen in this day and age with very little, how were members of the audience able to spot and identify that person before the security around the person who's potentially going to be the president of one of the most powerful nations in this world? Like, why? How was there the body positioning of this man able to miss a shot so smoothly, and yet unfortunately people die, like a
exactly.
person died. There's so many questions, right? So always question everything that you see, hear, and that you read, without going too much into conspiracies, because if you go too far gone, you end up in a whole different world. But try
I
and
have
question
like
everything.
17 theories about this assassination. I got like
Oh Lord.
17 of them. But
Oh
but
Lord.
my first thought was exactly what you just said. That's my first thought. People
Good.
saw him. People saw him on the roof, and you did nothing. And he had a clear, and that roof had
Hello.
a clear shot. That roof had a clear shot,
Hello.
right? It's nonsensical. And the Secret Service are saying they failed, but they're
Uh,
not going to tell us the real
you
story, are
think?
they?
Yeah. Mm,
I mean,
not yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just,
We don't even need to say it. We don't need to say it.
there's a shooter, there's a live shooter, and his head, the Secret Service are all around him, but his head's clearly visible. There's still photographers, there's still photographers right beneath the podium filming. One of them could have just shot him in his chest. I mean,
We don't need to say it. I'm not going to say anything.
I oh, I don't
That
know
which we do
nothing.
not need to say.
I know
We don't need to
nothing.
say.
I
We
know
know nothing. I
nothing.
know
I'm
nothing.
sitting in London in my little East London flat. I don't know nothing.
We know nothing. We know
I,
nothing.
I know nothing at all. Trust me. But yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting next 3 months, because I think
Yeah,
she. You think she's gonna get the nomination? I think she's got the
yeah,
nomination.
for sure, for sure, for sure, for
I
sure.
think
She'll
she's
get
got
it.
the nomination. And
Yeah.
then then the teeth, the sharks and the teeth are gonna come out,
Woo!
and we're gonna hear 50 million horrible things about her and her husband.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Thank
yeah.
God
Oh
she doesn't have any children.
yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's a really
Thank
valid
God she
point.
doesn't have
Yeah,
any children.
it's
God.
gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be really tough.
Mm.
It's gonna be
And
tough.
then there's the actual election. Let's see what happens there. But I don't know. I thought Biden was for sure gonna beat Trump, because I'm like, they're not
You?
gonna vote for Trump. But
No, I thought
now I'm not sure.
no. I'm pretty sure that I thought that Trump would have beaten Biden for sure.
Oh,
I would
for
have.
real.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was no. But now that we have this new, this new alternative with Kamala, I feel like she should be able to, in a rational world, she should be able to, whether she will or not. Again, I've already told you I have trust issues with America, so I'm just like,
America's not a
there's
rational country.
yeah.
America's not.
I have major trust issues. Like I'm like the fact that
America
Trump
is
was
not.
already
Black
no.
people are saying she's not black. So
You see, and this is where it becomes even dangerous territory in terms of
yeah,
representation, race, and all of those conversations are going to come up over the next. It's going to be a really intense time, actually, over the next few months, because even that, how she chooses to identify, who she's married to, all of that's going to be unpacked and interrogated, and it's going to be quite. I think it's going to get to disturbing and dangerous territory, actually.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm a little
100%.
bit. Yeah, yeah. Even that's quite worrying and concerning when you think about it. On a global scale, it's just going to be. It's just going to get weird. You know what it is as well. It's beyond being. It's just going to get really weird. You know when you just have to log off. You're going to be like, I can't be on these apps anymore. It's going to get
Yeah,
really murky.
no, no. It's going to get murky for her. I wish her all the best. She's going to need it. She's definitely going to
Yeah,
need it. Um,
yeah.
and thank you for joining me, Ronke. That time has
Oh,
gone really quickly.
it
Um,
has. It has.
can we do this again? Like never to the
We
election, or
should.
maybe
I
just
think.
after the election? Yeah,
Yeah, no,
100%.
we should. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a great platform here. Great,
Thank
great
you.
platform. And I'd be honored, and keep up the great work. So thank you for inviting me
And
on.
this,
And a
thank
conversation like this is so needed, right?
Yeah,
Like so
definitely,
needed. So
definitely.
thank you.
Because I think people, black women in the UK, I think people kind of forget that we have a global reach, and our voices are global. Um, and there's lots of things that we have to discuss. I think they only
Exactly.
they only drag us out to discuss racism, but we can discuss a lot more things
You
than that.
see? Thank
Racism and knife
you.
crime.
Oh
If
Lord.
there's any producers from Good Morning Britain watching, I can talk about other things apart from racism
Yes.
and knife crime. So when you jump in my
Amen.
DMs, do not come into my DMs about racism and knife crime. Please stop. I'm sick of them. I'm so sick of them. That's all they ask
Amen.
me to come on the show about. I'm so sick of them. So yeah, a little caveat. Sorry, that little rant.
Oh, you're so
Ronke, my
funny.
darling, lovely to
Thank
speak to you.
you.
Tell the
All right.
people where they can find you.
All right, so you can find me on. Look at me forgetting on and Twitter. I can't call it X. So Ronke
That's
Lawal
hard.
on Yeah, I can't. Ronke Lawal on Twitter, Ronke.Lawal on Instagram, and Ronke Means Business on YouTube. So I've got an active YouTube channel, and you can find me on LinkedIn. If you want to talk about business and money, you find me on LinkedIn. So I'm everywhere. Google me.
Google her. She's very dynamic, beautiful,
Thank you.
amazing. Ronke
Thank
Lowell,
you.
thank you for joining
Thank
me.
you.
Actually,
All right.
I always forget what build a platform when I forget my own questions, my sunshine and soul questions. I know I'm a mad woman, but it's the
Okay,
menopause.
go.
The sunshine question is what makes you happy, and the soul question is what gives you your peace.
Oh, what makes me happy right now is my 2-year-old daughter and just watching her just flourish. Like it's the cutest age. Like you guys, you mothers, you didn't warn me that it's the most adorable age.
Beautiful when they can just about talk. Yeah, when
Even
they
now
can
as I'm
just
talking,
about
I'm like,
pronounce. I love it. Yeah.
yeah, it's very selfishly. I just want to just like, oh yeah. And
Oh.
what brings me peace is actually just taking the time to find moments of quiet, reading a good book, and just taking time for myself and doing less work. So I've given myself that intention of working less labor, and just finding moments of just sitting down in the quiet, reading a nice book, drinking some tea, and just resting. That's what really brings my soul peace more and more. It's not as easy as you'd think it is, because we're always required to do something. But
Exactly.
yeah, finding that kind of peace is beautiful to me.
And I'm glad you've been able to find it. Thank you for joining me, Ronke.
Thank you so much, Marianne. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah, Sunshine and Soul. We're back online, but we're back. And join us next time. Thank you.